They have to go to the drop-in center to work on their life skills.
From 18 to 24, 18 to 26?
No. They may not live there the entire duration of their 18
Yeah,
to
it's only
24.
for 3-4 years.
Ideally, they would probably be there within a year so that we could get them into permanent housing. So they're going to be saving dollars so that they can, the biggest obstacle in Los Angeles is first and last month's rent for them to be able to afford that. So we're working with them to build, work with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo comes in and does financial literacy. And what we're hoping to do is get a grant to match the money that they save so that they can make that trajectory much more quicker.
Okay, but then from 18 to 24, these are adults at this point in time.
Yeah, the federal government classifies transition age youth as 18 to 24. The majority of these will be on the younger side of that, 18, 19, 20
And none
time
of
frame.
these have any kind of record?
Correct, they would not be eligible for this specific program if they have any record.
Okay.
George, just real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
I tell you, when I stayed in my girls' home, there are a couple of girls' homes that I know, when you turn 18, you just kick out. And they just didn't care. You know, and I stayed in a foster home. And before I went to a girls' home, when I stayed in a foster home, once that foster parent stopped getting that check when you was 18, you was kicked out. They didn't care where you went. They didn't care about anything. So one thing that we are always worried about are youth seat. How about when they get the 6 people, let one of them become and be one of our youth seats. Come and sit on our youth seat. Let one of them or the rest of them help this young lady with her campaign. Let somebody, I mean, why are we knocking them? Let's help them. We can have them as volunteers, youth, playing, teaching basketball. You know, I mean, let's give them something instead of knocking them. I mean, offer them something before you offer them nothing.
All right. So
Item's tabled.
Yes, we are tabling this. We will be hearing from Monica. We will be hearing from Charles, and we will address this issue. Moving on, we are going to jump to 8G, 7337, 7347 Hazeltine. Request a letter of support for the change of zoning from 9TR31 QRD 1.51 to an RD 1.5 zone. It was submitted to the Plum Committee and in coordination with the Catherine Square Neighborhood Association and Councilmember Krikorian's office with the changes in the amounts of units and other items relevant to the project.
Got the landscaping plan there.
Regina Minor, is that you?
That's her.
All right, we do have one.
Excuse me, can I have one?
We do. Yep, thank you, Regina. We have one speaker card in on this. Kathy Novak.
Yes, would you like me to speak before or?
It's entirely up to you.
Right now.
If indeed there are any things that I might want to respond to in rebuttal, I would appreciate that.
You, I will reserve time for you. You will be recognized.
Oh, okay, thank you. My name is Kathy Novak. And
Quiet down, please.
And I'm here on behalf of the Catherine Square neighborhood, which is the neighborhood due west of this particular development. Last time we were here, I believe we distributed a list of our various concerns regarding the project. I apologize, I don't have any additional copies today. One of our concerns is that every time this matter is discussed, there is a different site plan. So we're never quite sure what the final plan is, not to, impugn Regina's, honesty or anything. It's just confusing for us. Also, we appreciate the fact that they have reduced the number of units in this project down to 23, but it still appears to be 2 bits for this particular property in this particular neighborhood. As I said, the major problem that we have is that Regina has given me a plan today, which is considerably different from what I thought was the final plan, and this is the first time that we have seen it. So, I haven't really had a time to review it in any depth. But they said that the main concern is we want that as much of the cul-de-sac as as possible to be finished. We recognize that a chunk of it is on private property, so that will remain, as it is.
Now, this plan is less units than the one before?
25.
I'm
Now
not,
it's
you know,
23.
I'm not
It
sure
went from
which.
25 to
We
23.
addressed our concerns, we reduced it.
Would the Catherine Square neighborhood support this
would
particular
still-
one?
It's an improvement, but we would still be in opposition.
Okay.
As to the density, I believe we have been told at one point it would be 2 stories, at another point it would be 3 stories.
Do you have something that you would be happy with? Like 19, 17, a
Obviously,
park?
Yeah, obviously 2 stories is better. There is apparently only a little over an 8-foot setback from the property line on the west side, so that essentially you will have these buildings looming over that one piece of property that is at the end of that cul-de-sac. Regina again gave me some additional information regarding the so-called crash gate. But again, it's not physically on the document and is somewhat different from what we had before. She has indicated that the developer is willing to go ahead and build that, there's a single, traditional lot, strangely shaped but still there, but that it cannot be part of this particular plan submission because the only thing that's under consideration is the zoning variances for the small lot project. So-
Okay. Carino, this came out of your, where did Carino go? Oh, that's this one, okay.
All right.
Howard, this came out of the Plum Committee just
It did
fine? or-
indeed.
And no objections to any of it?
We had several suggestions that were made as to improvements on the site plan. The reduction from 25 to 23 was one of them. The crash gate was another. The physical identity and elevation of the property and the buildings themselves, we wanted to have modified because of their bland nature. There were a number of things, but the Plum Committee did approve that the project should go forward with modification.
But
Penelope?
the modifications need to be on the plan.
Absolutely.
So that she feels confident. And was there outreach done on this to your neighborhood?
Yes, there has been outreach in the past, but, obviously nothing since this, our last meeting with you,
Exactly.
to my knowledge.
Do you think that your neighborhood would support it with all those stipulations? Almost?
I suspect that there are still concerns about the density of the project, although this certainly is an improvement,
Sure.
but.
Yeah, there was a smaller setback off of Hazeltine. Now it's at 15 feet,
That's
which
actually which is nice, but our concern is the setback on the other side.
I understand that. I understand that. But the setback on the other side, looking at that, it is abutted to the cul-de-sac, and that is a property that is yet to be developed.
No,
So
I'm
the-
on the southernmost, the southern corner of this development
Right here.
is actually abuts an existing house.
Oh, I know you.
So-
I know.
So in other words,
If we gave them their letter of support with all the stipulations that Mr. Benjamin spoke about, is it possible your neighborhood could support this? Or-
I would like to see it first.
Well, these
Okay,
things
yeah.
have to be drawn in here. You can't say I'm gonna do it, and if they're not
Yes.
here,
Yeah.
you can't go
So
back.
then did you want to table this until they
Yeah.
actually do what they said
Well,
they were going to do? or-
Regina, we did approve them, and they have made significant changes in the property. We haven't seen the elevation.
But that, yeah, and I'm sorry, and we stated you can put that into the conditions as far as the facade of, of the structures to go in would be with the approval of the neighborhood council, and that's fine, but we meet every improvement
I know.
that we were asked to do.
So can we
as far
put
as
that in the
map
letter,
is
like we
concerned.
support this, given X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
But can I say something?
Why, I don't see why not.
We have to remember and remind us the chief of Los Angeles Police told everybody on the radio and on TV that all the plumbing, the sewer, or the water of all San Fernando, Los Angeles needed to be replaced. And he was gonna decrease the building of new structures, buildings, apartments, residential and commercial in here in California. Because our sewer pipes need to all be replaced, they're all rusted. From Los Angeles all to San Fernando to Silmar, all over. They need to be replaced, so they're supposed to be decreasing the building structures of any kind of housing or apartments, because that's putting a lot of pressure on the good pipes that we go to the school and to the houses and to apartments. It's putting a lot of pressure, and the pipes are breaking more. I live on Tobias and Van Nuys, and ever since they built that church and a little school, our pipes broke. And they gave us a lot of sort of problems. And when they build these more things, it's gonna create more problems to the San Fernando Valley, to Van Nuys, and to Los Angeles, sir. So we have to have that in mind. We want you to build. I'm a builder and apprentice general for 41 licenses, building and safety codes. And it's not something safe, because we could go down the hill anytime with those pipes like that, and we might end up being like east of Cleveland, and we don't want that to happen, sir.
Very good, thank you for those
Excuse me?
comments. Yes.
Yes, as we were. Again, we're absent information right now regarding the elevation, regarding the physical design of the buildings.
Now, where is your neighborhood on this? Like, could you give us what you would like to see? I mean, is it?
We would like, right now, the drawings that we've seen are rather industrial and not particularly attractive.
Correct.
We would like to see something that was, that was comported more with the, the designs of the neighborhood, which, perhaps contemporary or whatever.
But you're not completely opposed to the project?
As it stands now, A, we don't have enough solid information. B, we still would believe it's too dense.
Howard, what do you recommend?
At this point, I think we should let Regina make the statement on as to how many stories these buildings are and so forth.
Okay.
So that some of your questions will be answered.
But we have gotten conflicting information off and on throughout our numerous discussions. So,
Well-
again, without.
Well, I think for this council to submit the letter of support, and Howard will back me up on this, she will have to adhere to everything that we want.
Exactly.
Or we won't do the letter. It's as simple as that.
But also another major concern again is that there's only an 8-foot setback on that western
And where are we
side.
on that? We don't mind the 8-foot setback, or we want to see something more?
It's 8.5 feet.
8.3.
8.3, okay.
I misspoke.
No, it's fine. Let's hear from Regina. Let's hear from the other side of the issue here.
Okay.
Good evening all. My name is Regina Minor. I represent the owner of the property and the developer. We have met with the Neighborhood Council Plum Committee on more than one occasion. In fact, I believe I was here at one point and it was tabled in order to make more changes. We have met with the Catherine Square folks on one occasion, discussed it numerous times. The council's office, in fact, came with me to a meeting to meet with the folks from Catherine Square. We had original plan that you guys saw. We changed that one. We reduced it at that point. After meeting with the HOA from Catherine Square, we took all of their issues, and council's office told them the same thing, that we would reduce it again, so we would have more frontage in the front. Facing Hazeltine, you have 15-foot setback to the front units, which would be facing Hazeltine. They would look like, single-family homes. And the rear, which is what the issue here on the RG 1.5 side, would be also moved into 8.3, not 8.5, versus 5 feet. What we also explained is that the home that's directly on the other side of the home that is being addressed, The separation there is less, way less than 8.3 feet. In other words, they're 5 feet apart, which is what the standard setbacks are, side yards are. So
I mean-
we're further in than what we are required to be. We are 36 feet in height. We are not asking for any variances. That area allows you to be much higher than that. We have provided, the crash gate is sideways. You will not see it from the facing if you're looking at the property off of Leadwell. And we provided the green, we provided the extra guest parking as well. We've complied with every request.
How many stories are the proposed buildings?
Altogether, I believe there's 3, but I'm counting the garage because it's grade level. So it's one, it looks like a single-family house. You don't have a garage, then the first floor, then this, it goes solid. If you look at the plan, the garage, the second floor is literally over the garage. So you're walking into your house, then you're going up, and then I think the master bedroom's on the 3rd floor.
Oh, so there's a third floor.
And they're 36 feet in height, so, yeah.
It's 12 feet
Okay.
per story.
Right, which is, and again, you're allowed to go higher there. We're not going higher, we're not asking to go higher.
So what do you think, Mr.
And
Benjamin?
how much guest parking do we have?
We have 7 guest parkings, and it's a 2-car in each, yeah.
Mhm.
And we're over by the requirement, I believe, by 1 or 2 spaces, because we reduced the units, we never reduced the guest parking.
What do you say, Mr. Benjamin, where we can
So
approve
have
the
problem parking.
language and do the letter, given that they adhere to all our stipulations?
Absolutely. At this point in time, I think that we do need to see
Not a problem as far as
a
the
reconfigured
design.
elevation,
Yeah, that's not a problem.
that's more,
And you and I talked about it, we talked about it, and we usually put that, agree and actually suggest that language is put in when it's a small lot, because at this point, you don't know what the plans are gonna look exactly as far as the exterior and the interior. You have a base that you're going by as far as square footage and the layout.
Oh, we
So
don't
I don't have a problem at all. In fact, I think I recommended it initially, that one of the stipulation in the LOD from you guys to planning department, that we would consult with you as far as the aesthetics, if you will, of the
So do
design.
we have a picture of it?
we do not. We had a picture of it, it's being changed.
Because we were asked to kind of play with it a little bit, so that's why.
So I would,
They were institutional in
And
design.
I sort of agreed with you.
I mean, without objection, I would say we approve the letter of support with the
second.
stipulations. And we would like to see what it looks like after,
Before we submit anything,
Pro-
maybe the first.
pro-
We're not
Prior to the
approving
letter.
anything until we see
Okay.
the,
we're approving the letter of support with the stipulations, and then are waiting to see what it looks like,
Got it.
say, next month or at the plum meeting next month.
and then if you're not happy with what you see, you're gonna,
Yeah, there won't be a plum meeting this
then we'll
month, but
withdraw
there
our
will
letter
be
of
in
support.
January.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
So without objection, I make a motion, we adopt the language of 8G as is.
seconded.
I call for the vote, Mr. Secretary.
President Thomas,
Yes.
Vice President Benjamin,
Yes.
Secretary Hendry, aye, Treasurer Hop.
I'm sorry.
We're voting?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was saying goodbye to somebody, her husband's been in the hospital.
Well,
Please
let's
stay
get
down.
state of the facts here.
Wait, sorry, forgive me, but I don't know what we're voting on yet. So please, what are we voting
The
for?
letter of support for Kittredge, for, no, I'm sorry, for
As
Hazelwood.
long as the.
Stipulations are met.
Okay, then, yes,